Hi y'all, Miss G back with the cool vids. I'm totally kidding. I don't know why I just said that. Alright, so adding and subtracting rational expressions. So yesterday we simplified, multiplied, and divided. Today we're going to be adding and subtracting. So before we even get into this, I just want to look at normal fractions, okay? So say we had like 1/3 plus 4/3. Well, we could draw this in a picture if we really wanted to. So there's 1/3. 4 more thirds, so I have to draw 3 pies. This is 4/3. So all together there we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 thirds. Correct? We could say the same for like 1/7 plus 4/7 would be 5/7. Or 2/9 plus 3/9 equals 5/9. That's when they have a common denominator. You just add across the top. Now, let's say, how do I erase this? Clear? Ooh, fancy. Now let's say that we have fractions that aren't common denominators. So say you have like 1/3 plus 1/6. Well, we have to get a common denominator, right? 3 goes into 6 2 times, so I'm going to multiply this top and bottom by 2. So this will be 2/6 plus 1/6, which would equal 3/6, which then reduces to 1/2. Okay, we could do another example. Say you have like 1/4 plus 2/5. Now there's the lowest number that 4 and 5 go into is 20. So I multiply this by 5 and 5. This by 4 and 4. So this would be 5/20 plus 8/20, which would equal 13/20. Right? So this is just, you should have learned that a very long time ago. You probably, I don't know what grade. I'm not going to pretend to know. But we're going to use that prior knowledge right there to add and subtract fractions with variables in them. Okay, so if we have 13a over 4a squared plus 5a over 4a squared, first that has a common denominator. So we can just add across the top. So it's going to be 13a plus 5a over 4a squared, which is 18a over 4a squared. And then we have to reduce that fraction. So 18, 2 goes into 18 9 times, 2 goes into 4 2 times, and then a over a squared, I'm left with 1a in the bottom. Okay, because you have 1 over 2, so the 1 will cancel on top, leaving me 1 on bottom. All right. Now let's look at this one. So we have 9x plus 12 minus 7x plus 12. Anytime you have a subtraction sign, I want you to distribute it. Every single time. If there's a subtraction sign, you have to distribute it. And it distributes to the top. So that's going to be negative 7x minus 12. Don't distribute it to the bottom, just to the top. Okay, because we want to change these into addition problems as often as we can. Every single time, actually, because you can every time. Okay? And then we can just add across the top because we have a common denominator. So 9x minus 7x is 2x. 12 minus 12 is 0, and that's over 16. And 2x over 16 reduces to x over 8. Okay, let's look at this one. So we have y squared plus 8 over y squared minus 9 plus 2y plus 21 over y squared minus 9. So we're just going to add across the top, and you end up with y squared plus 10y plus 21 over y squared minus 9. And then we're going to factor it. And when you're doing this, I know that some of you were struggling in class. When you factor this, I want you to look at the top all by itself and factor that, and then look at the bottom all by itself and factor that. So if we look at that top, it factors to y plus 3, y plus 7. The bottom factors to y plus 3, y minus 3. Those cancel, and you're left with y plus 7 over y plus 3. I don't know why I laughed. Okay. And you're done. Yay. Okay. Let's look at this one. So again, we're going to distribute that to the top because it's a subtraction sign. Every single time you have a subtraction, distribute to the top. Okay. Then we're going to combine. We have 1 minus 16a squared over 12a minus 3. Now, this is something that you guys were struggling with in class. So, we always want to put, once we get down to our simplified version, we have to put it in standard form. Okay? You should always put everything you can into standard form. That should be just one of the very first things you always do in a problem is put it in standard form. Okay, but that standard form is going to go away. And then I'm going to factor out a negative 1. So I have negative 1 times 16a squared minus 1. And that came from, I just divided this by negative 1, and I divided that by negative 1. So I really am just switching the signs. That's why I get this to be a positive, that's a negative. Now, that 16a squared minus 1 factors to 4a minus 1 and 4a plus 1. In the bottom, I can factor out a 3, and I'm left with 4a minus 1. Those 4a minus 1's cancel. I'm left with negative 1 times 4a plus 1 over 3. Whenever you have a negative, whether it be in top or bottom, just pull the bottom, or you can just pull it out to the very front, and it will go right there. Okay? You can do E and F. Those are the answers that you should get there. Now, if we have unlike bases, this makes it a little bit trickier, but we got this because we are very brilliant human beings. First, subtraction sign, distribute the subtraction sign. Then I'm going to look at, not the same base. Yeah, sad face. We already knew that. So we have to find a common denominator. We have a 2x and a 3x. Let's look at our numbers. 2 and 3 both go into 6. X and x both just go into x. So now, I'm going to multiply that 2x by 3 to get the 6x, 3x by 2 over 2. And you have to multiply top and bottom because we can't change this fraction. And technically, when you multiply by 3 over 3, 3 over 3 equals 1, so we're not changing anything. Same thing here, that equals 1, so we're not changing anything. Okay, so then you end up with 45 over 6x. Plus negative 32 over 6x. 45 minus 32 is 13. So our answer here is 13 over 6x. Okay, let's do another. So we have 4a over a squared minus 7 over 8a. Distribute that subtraction sign. And then we have a squared and 8a. So the common denominator there would be 8 and then a squared. That means I'm going to have to multiply that first fraction by 8 over 8 and the second one by a over a. There I'm left with 32a over 8a squared plus negative 7a over 8a squared, which is 25a over 8a squared. Those a's cancel, and I'm left with 25 over 8a. And that can't reduce. Okay, let's look at this one. We're getting a little bit trickier, but we still got this because we're super awesome. Distribute the subtraction sign, and then we're going to look at the denominators. If you can factor the denominator, factor the denominator. Factor denominator. Yep, you got the gist of it. Okay, factor the denominator. So I'm going to factor out that 5, and I get 5 and times k minus 2 and k minus 2. So the only thing I'm missing in that second fraction is a 5. So I'm going to multiply that by 5 over 5. And I get k squared plus 16 plus negative 20, and that's all over 5k minus 2. Combine those and you get k squared minus 4 over 5k minus 2, or 5 times k minus 2. That top factors to k minus 2 and k plus 2. Bottom factors to 5 and k minus 2. Those cancel, and I'm just left with k plus 2 over 5. Cool? Let's do J. Getting a little bit trickier. So let's factor the bottom. We don't have a negative. We don't have anything to distribute. That bottom factors to y plus 3 and y plus 8. That means that my first one is missing the y plus 3. And always leave the bottom in the factors. So I'm going to multiply that out. I get 7y plus 21 plus 35, and those are both over y plus 3, y plus 8. Leave it in their factors. Leave it in their factors, leave it in their factors, leave it in their factors. Okay? That's a huge mistake that you guys make, and you're just making more work for you if you don't leave it in their factors. Okay? Cool. Combine, and you get 7y plus 56 over y plus 3 and y plus 8. Factor out a 7. Then you get 7 times y plus 8. Those y plus 8s cancel, and you're left with 7 over y plus 3. Okay? Let's do another. We're just going to keep treading, I guess. So, again, we're going to factor that bottom. X plus 2, x plus 3. That second fraction is missing the x plus 3. So that's going to be x squared minus 5 over x plus 2, x plus 3. Plus x plus 3 over x plus 2, x plus 3. Combine, you get x squared plus x minus 2 over x plus 2 and x plus 3. Then we're going to factor that, and you get x plus 2, x minus 1 over x plus 2, x plus 3. Those x plus 2's cancel, and you get x minus 1 over x plus 3. Cool? Let's look at L. Again, factor the bottom. So that's the difference of squares. Factors to m minus 2, m plus 2. That second fraction is missing the m plus 2. So that's going to be 2 times m plus 2, which is 2m plus 4. Oh, that's supposed to be a plus sign. Whoopsies. This is a plus. Sorry. Plus sign. Okay, now we're going to combine like terms, possibly, maybe. And you get m squared plus 7m plus 10 over m minus 2 and m plus 2. And that factors to m plus 2, m plus 5. Those m plus 2's cancel, and you're left with m plus 5 over m minus 2. Booyah, whippy. Yippee, whippy. Sorry. Save the rest. Thanks for being awesome. Remember to take the quiz. Bye, guys.